This is Michael Popok for the new, look at the logo, Legal AFMTN channel in collaboration with the Midas Touch Network. Just take a moment, look for the oval subscribe button and hit it. It's not ego, it's algorithm. It keeps this channel up and running, keeps the lights on, and keeps the content coming to you. Let's talk about Donald Trump and the Department of Justice in the future. Because if Kamala Harris wins, as we expect, we have Madam President, the Department of Justice is going to have its hands full going after hate groups that have reactivated themselves like a sleeper cell because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has blown the dog whistle again, and groups you've heard of, like the Proud Boys and the KKK, and groups you wish you hadn't heard of, like the Trinity White Knights and the Israel United in Christ, are all back. And according to the Southern Poverty Institute that follows hate groups in America, they are awakened and they are coming out because Donald Trump, with his rhetoric against Kamala Harris, the Democrats, his rhetoric that's pornographic at times against Kamala Harris, suggesting that she only got ahead because she slept with men that were more powerful than she, violent rhetoric, racist rhetoric, misogynistic rhetoric, that is rude and that is coarse, has given license to people below the person running for presidency because the tone is set at the top to act the same way. The Proud Boys, their entire leadership decapitated by the Department of Justice and put in jail for dozens and dozens of years, they're back. They're back. Not only does Roger Stone planning on using them as bodyguards and other guards to monitor the election results on election nights, but they are back to be the protector, the defender of ex-President Donald Trump. The army that he said stand back and stand by, they're back and they're coming by. And they're joined with other groups that, again, I wish I hadn't heard of, but now I have. Trinity White Knights, Israel United in Christ, we see you. And what they're doing is they're hearing Donald Trump say that black and brown people are subhuman. That black and brown people should end up in internment camps and deported, regardless of whether they're United States citizens or not. Does anybody think it matters to Donald Trump whether somebody is here on a proper immigration status, a green card, a temporary protective status, a TPS, or some other appropriate status legal leading to a green card or citizenship? Does anybody think Donald Trump cares about that? He's already said he wants to deport people, and most of the people he's pointing the finger out to deport, they're here legally and have due process rights and have rights of ownership or vested interest in the government already granting them the right to stay here and work. And the ones he's pointing to, like the Haitians, the proud Haitian community in Springfield, Ohio, they're working their ass off in factories for Springfield, Ohio, and for America, doing the dirty jobs that Americans don't want to do. I know J.D. Vance went on some sort of New York Times interview. I happen to know the person who interviewed him from my stint in Miami for years. She comes from a well-known Miami family. He actually said, well, no, those aren't dirty jobs that Americans won't do. They will do them. No, they won't. That's the reason that we have an immigration status that protects workers who come from other countries that do the jobs that Americans don't want to do. We have an actual immigration classification for that. So when Donald Trump is attacking the poor Haitian community in Springfield, Ohio, having never during his entire presidency extended a helping hand to help the Haitian community struggle as they came out of their country, rocked by hurricanes, rocked by earthquakes, rocked by gangs, rocked by political assassinations and poverty, and reach out to the community in Miami that has been running an underground railroad. The pillars of Miami society include the Haitian community, the lawyers there, the judges there, the bankers, the real estate brokers and real estate developers, Haitian all. And they've been running an underground railroad to get their cousins, their brothers, their sisters, their friends, and even strangers out of Haiti. And Donald Trump didn't do a darn thing during his entire time as president to help that group of people. And now when another group of Americans want to bring them in and extend a warm welcome mat, Donald Trump uses them as political theater and as a target in order for him to try to get elected. And that has given license to these other groups to act out. All right? When Donald Trump stands behind bulletproof glass at one of his rallies, that's quite an image. He, to the side of him, adjacent to him, the QAnon side of him, these people are not holding back. They're marching the streets of Springfield and those around off of Donald Trump, in the wake of Donald Trump, right? In the slipstream of Donald Trump. They are marching. They are chanting. They are about to burn some crosses on lawns. How else can we put this? The KKK is back. It always operates and grows in the petri dish of hatred. Not in love, not in compassion. Those, by the way, who's ever said that those are qualities you never hear ascribed to MAGA or the GOP? Compassion, right? Love of country, charity. You never hear that. It's all about shutting the gate on somebody else and somebody else's right, standing on somebody else's throat to make you better off because you're scared because some little tiny man with a giant megaphone has scared the crap out of you and now you hate your neighbor. These are Americans. They're Americans that identify as transgender, or they're Americans that identify as part of the LGBTQ plus community, or they're Americans that identify as having come to this country and immigrated and gone through process and become citizens, and they are Americans, or they're on green card status and they want to be Americans, and they are Americans. And the people that you are calling out, Trump, and that you're activating these sleeper cells of hatred and getting the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the KKK to come back, right, and to be normalized, that's because of your attacks on fellow Americans. He wants to say, all I want to do is deport the murderous immigrants who are here illegally. You know what? I can agree to that. If you could identify for me, you could take like a black light and run it through a neighborhood and identify for me the murderous immigrant who's here illegally, I'd be the first one to put him in a van and deport him. But that's not what you're talking about. What you're talking about is the other. You're talking about black and brown. You're talking about impure genes. Yeah, I'm not making this up. You're talking about eugenics. You're talking about Mein Kampf. And that concerns me. Not because I'm black or brown, but because you're coming for me next. Today, the old adage, I didn't say anything when they came for the Haitians because I'm not Haitian. I didn't say anything when they came for the fill in the blank because I'm not that group. And one day they came for me and there was nobody left to say anything. That's where we're at. Today it's the Haitians, tomorrow it's the Jews. That's always in the back of my mind. And there's no bigger patriot. There may be somebody equal to me, but there's no bigger patriot and lover of America, the Constitution, and our government than me. And the fact that they've tried to steal the flag from me is a personal affront to my patriotism and your patriotism. And when you hear Donald Trump, here's the Popok translate. When you hear Donald Trump attack another group of people in America, most of them citizens are well on their way to being citizens, or this is the only country that they've ever known because they came here as children or as babies. When you hear that, when you hear him attack them in order to elevate him by diminishing them, punching down at them to elevate him, he's punching down and punching out fellow Americans. I'd expect this from the Russians. I'd expect this from the Iranians. I'd expect this from the Chinese. And they're doing it too. And Donald Trump is surfing the wave created by misinformation and disinformation and brainwashing by those foreign enemies as well. He curries favor in them. He's propping up by his rhetoric the dictatorships around the country and around the world. Orban stays in power because Donald Trump allows him to stay in power by his rhetoric. Putin too. North Korea also. Donald Trump needs them in place as his foil so he can act the tough guy. And here's the point of the hot take. The Biden administration, Department of Justice, continued by Kamala Harris, are going to have their hands full. They better set up now another division within the Department of Justice to go after and crush these hate groups. They've crossed the line beyond First Amendment speech, hiding behind the skirt of core political speech, which it's not, into hate speech and violent rhetoric, which quickly becomes buildings exploding with people inside of it, assassination attempts, car bombs, and white powder of poison in packages delivered. That's what happens. And Donald Trump doesn't care, but he has blood on his hands every time in order to try to get elected. he tries to give a knockout blow to somebody that's the other in society. And we got to call it out and not normalize it and not get fatigued by it. There's one thing about this channel, man. I am not fatigued. I am not normalizing Donald Trump's abnormal, irrational, demented, tyrannical behavior. And I know you're not either because you're here on Legal AF MTN. We're going to continue to follow it. And what the Department of Justice needs to do and the court system needs to do to go after these groups and crush them. And if we decapitated the first round of leaders for Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and White Knights and whatever the heck their name is, Israel, Christian, whatever, all right, we're gonna have to do it again. We're gonna have to mow the lawn again, decapitate them again, put them all in jail. Put them all in jail. And I'm going to continue to follow it right here. Legal AF MTN, where the law and politics side of the Midas Touch Network can spread its wings. You're here for it, because I know you're here for it. Free subscribe. Bring some friends and family along with you. The vote in November 5th, really important. The vote now, free subscribe, Legal AF MTN, really important too. Keeps the lights on. Keeps this whole thing rolling along. Until my next hot take. Until my next Legal AF MTN contribution. This is Michael Popok, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.